Hey there, this is Ryan Kingsline. So I took an older sculpt I did a while back, back in my days at the Gnomon workshop, and I just had to tweak the musculature because, man, we learn so much all the time. But anyways, this is the musculature roughed in. But what I want to focus on is this cape. So somebody I've known for a while, and that's a member at ZBrush Workshops, asked me for some advice on sculpting capes. And I thought I would put some of that advice in right away. And a lot of people, when they think about capes, and if they're, say, hardcore 3D artists or Maya type people, they're going to start to think dynamics. And I went down that route when I was exploring how to do clothing or capes like this. And I put it through some cloth simulations, stuff like that. All of that stuff has one really big problem, and that's that it takes forever to iterate through designs. Literally you can't iterate through designs in terms of a concept stage. You can't iterate through designs with a cloth simulation very fast. You might get lucky, but you're really not going to do it. You're talking about taking something that really should be done in a half hour and spreading it out to 3 days with simulations, and then tweaking, and then letting them run and all of that stuff. So sculpt it. The answer, the tip is basically don't do dynamics, sculpt. And in terms of sculpting, it's kind of a simple workflow. You go low res, and you're going to use a standard brush. Okay, and then you're going to just get some basic folds this way. You might also use Damien's standard brush. And then, still low res, you get movement in it with using Move Elastic. Now, I think back in the day that when I was doing this, I didn't have Move Elastic, so I used Snake Hook. But Move Elastic is going to be what we do. So, let's get in and create a simple cape. So I'm going to start with a simple plain 3D. Nothing terribly fancy, right? And I am going to convert it to a poly mesh. So that means I'm probably looking at the inside of it. There we go. And I'm just going to stretch this out. Yeah, about like that. And you might want to just use topological masking and transpose to give you a little bit of an angle to it. Perspective is on. Might want to turn double on. Display properties, double. And then let's just breach that out a little bit. Okay. Simple enough. Don't need too much more than that. If you want to get a little bit of the shoulders, we can just really quickly do that. And then use Move to just spread that out. Give it a little bit of an arc. Alright, but not all that necessary at this stage. So, first steps first. We're kind of low res. You might want to go lower. So I'm going to reconstruct just so I've got it. And I might want some higher subdivisions, so I'm going to create those as well. So I'm going to leave it at subdiv 2. That was the original. Go to the standard brush, and I'm going to just get in and start to create some basic folds. Standard brush, I'm not a big fan of doing anything really fancy like using gravity or anything like that. Just need some basic stuff here. And this might not be enough resolution. Maybe I need to subdivide it, and I need to get some inner folds in here and pull this out, and maybe there's something happening here. I'm not really thinking of anything specific. Smooth it out. That's the beauty of this standard brush workflow. It's like Whistler painting at the end of the day. You just smooth it out and start over next day. See if the magic happens. Okay, I guess I am creating some movement already, but I'm not trying to create much. Okay. Smooth it out. Switch over to Damien's standard brush. I have that set to a key combo, so that's why you saw that happen really quickly. Okay, but I kind of feel like I'm already starting to complicate this. I'm getting into the art directing phase of it, which isn't what this tutorial's all about. I don't want to create, a really beautiful one. I just want to give you the tools you need to create it. Alright, so back into the standard brush, I want to create some depth. Depth is relatively important to establish now. You really want to have as much of that intact as possible. Alright, so now the next thing that you do, once you have a little bit of movement, switch over to Move Elastic. And now, depending on your character, you're going to be moving this stuff out. But see, Move Elastic is just a beautiful brush. It's going to retain details. And let's go to the lower subdivision levels. Yeah. One thing that's really nice about it is that you can take a corner, like let's say this area down here, out, and then back in. Let's do this at a lower subdivision level. It's playing a little hard to get. Come in here. Yeah, there we go. Look for that magic. Out, and then I circle around, and you see that pop and that pop? That's where things are getting sharper. So when you take your brush and you circle around back in towards its origin, then it would take, say, a form that pulls out like this, and it'll start to push it and make it sharper. So these edges start to go in, and that gives you a really nice quality. Now, you saw it was a little bit tough for me to make that happen, but I did get it to happen. So it might be that what you want to do is let that be something that happens at the end. And also you have to keep in mind that your polygon count is relevant. It's only going to do so much, and the lower your polygon count, the better that Move Elastic is going to work. Alright, so here we go. Let's spread this out a little bit, spread that out a little bit. And, now you can come back in and you can use standard brush and start to carve some more form in there if you really wanted to. But we've got some nice movement happening here. I also want to show you the old school way where we would use snake hook to do some of this. And let's go into draw, lower my draw size. And snake hook, it does that cool stuff. It's the precursor to Move Elastic, but I would use it to basically pull points out. Lower the draw size and really just get that angle. Almost like Doctor Strange type folds, right? Or not folds, but edges. Something else to consider, I'm just throwing a bunch at you. Move with AccuCurve. That's one way that you get a really nice hard edge. Not sure if you knew about that one. But just another tool for you to use. So with those techniques, it's not too difficult for you to get a cape that has all of this dynamic quality. Now you might have noticed anyways, that this has thickness, this cape. Let's just look at the cape itself. Solo mode. The thickness itself is not something I do at the beginning, so this is the last tip I'm going to leave you with. Once you have a cape and you're all set, then you're going to want to use morph difference to create the thickness. You're not going to want to use anything else. Morph difference is the thing that you want to use. And you want to do that at the lower polygon count, because whatever your lowest polygon count is, that's what it's really going to be, But there's some issues with resolution, so you gotta be mindful. This is not everything. It's not plug and play. Anyways, store morph target, okay, and then what you would do is go into deformation and take your inflate and set it to something like a -2 or a -5. You need to get some reaction. -30. Alright. And then create difference mesh. Come up here. Morph difference target. Come to the very bottom of that and make sure double is on, or just click flip. Chances are it will have come in, with the normals messed up. Anyways, catching that? We have thickness. And morph difference is the only one that's not going to smooth things out. So if you want, you can divide this piece. This is a separate piece of geometry. So you might want to add that thickness early on. And then you might want to come in with a standard brush. Consider turning backface masking on so you don't affect the inside. And then you can add more qualities. Harden the focal shift. And then you can get a little bit different of a fold out of that. There we go. Alright, so those are my tips on creating capes or some kind of dynamic cloth. Sculpt it, use the standard brush, low res, move elastic, and then finally morph difference. Hope you enjoyed.